Hey guys, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Friday, everyone. Time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So today, pretty much inside the shop at least, it was myself and Mr. Jacob working on these two cars, the Baja Bug and the orange Ghia here primarily. Tiny bit on this one, but that's kind of what happened today. So why don't we go ahead and start with this guy here. So went ahead and had Jacob keep up his momentum on this car. So yesterday he pretty much disassembled all the brakes, etc., and brake lines and removed the master cylinder, all that stuff. The front is disc brakes, and so we just kind of inspected the calipers for signs of leaks and so on, and of course didn't see any. However, went ahead and put new lines on there, or hoses rather, and we also put on new tie rods. The ones that were on there were bent and the boots were all non-existent or torn up. So, kind of while we're at it, we are still waiting on the master cylinder itself. That is coming from our friends at SoCal Imports. It's one specific for front disc brakes and rear drum brakes, so that's coming from those guys. I saw it ship, so we'll probably have it Monday. So at this point, that was about all we could do up on the front of the car as far as the brakes are concerned. We do have to form a new hard line on each side, so the one that goes from here to the master cylinder and then from here to the master cylinder. But you can't really do that until you have the master cylinder in place so that you know where the lines are going to. So that is pretty much it for the front brakes. We did also go ahead and put on a new steering coupler, which I mentioned yesterday. The one that was in there was cracked and stuff. And like I mentioned, I don't think the original style ever really failed catastrophically. I'm sure it's happened, but they do have cloth interwoven in them so that even if the rubber cracks, they don't seem to really let go in a catastrophic way. Anyways, but we were already here, so went ahead and put another one on. And so let's go around the back of the car. The back of the car got new wheel cylinders on both sides because one of them on one side was leaking, and so we always replace those in pairs. The brake shoes themselves seem pretty new, and they didn't seem like they got ruined or anything. Sometimes when you have a leaky cylinder, it'll soak the pads, and then even if they're still new, you can try and clean them with brake cleaner, and sometimes it's okay. But anyway, in this case, the brake shoes on both sides looked very new, and on the side that was leaking, which I think was the other side, the shoes didn't seem like they got that wet. So we're just going to reuse all that. So yeah, each side got a new cylinder, and we had to replace the hard line on one side because it was basically frozen to the brake hose. And so got new brake hoses both sides, and then one new hard line here because again it was basically just stuck on the rubber hose. So that whole brake hose brake line got replaced on this side, and the other side came apart more cooperatively. Hard line looked fine, so just went ahead and put on a new hose and of course a new cylinder on this side too. So this was the side that was leaking, and the brake shoes are actually pretty dry. So luckily it didn't seem like it soaked them like it does sometimes. I think it was a pretty minor leak. We didn't really see much sign of leaking at all. It was just when Jacob peeled the boot back, it was wet in there, which is a sign that it's, maybe in this case it just kind of started leaking but hadn't really got bad enough yet to soak the shoes. So that was pretty much Jacob's day working on the brakes on this one. He did a good job as always. He got to actually put a bubble flare on a rear brake line because we didn't have the correct length brake line. So we took one that was a little bit too long and cut maybe a couple inches off it, and then used the bubble flaring tool to put a new end on it. And so that was new. That was a new skill under Jacob's belt, was bubble flaring brake lines, metric bubble flare. So yeah, that guy is learning all the time, getting to be quite the VW mechanic. All right, so what about me? What did I do today? Well, that's a good question. Pretty much mainly focused on the orange Ghia here, the blindingly bright signal orange Ghia. And let's see what I did. Started off by go ahead and installing the steering box. So a bit of prep work goes into that, because basically what I do is figure out where the where the steering box is going to go, sort of side to side, and then also kind of the tilt in this way to make sure that it's sort of pointed straight at the, eventually where the steering column will go. And then what I do basically is mark the beam where the steering box is going to sit, and then remove the steering box and the surface here that mates to the top tube of the front beam. Remove the paint from there on the steering box, and then likewise remove the paint from the mating surface of the beam itself in that area, and then finally go ahead and put it all back together. And so the reason for that is, of course, these Volkswagens, like most Beetles at least, rely on a ground of the steering box to supply the ground for the horn. And so the steering box has to be grounded, and how it gets grounded is through its sort of mechanical connection here to the front beam. So yeah, it's a little tedious removing the paint and doing it neatly on the steering box and the beam so that a good ground is made. And then on this particular year, there's basically a wire which will start right here on the steering box side of the coupler assembly here, and then go through the tube and run up to the horn button. So yeah, I went ahead and put that on, and then put on the tie rods, new tie rods, of course, on both sides. Still need to purchase a steering damper. I don't think I bought one for it yet. I need to go back and look, but so yeah, put a steering damper on it. I did kind of a preliminary alignment, just sort of eyeballing it. So usually what we do is find the center of the steering box as far as it's the travel of the Pittman arm, and then set that there centered, and then from there try and adjust the tie rod length so that both wheels, or both, in this case brake rotors, are, you're just kind of eyeballing it at that point, but making sure that they look like they're going straight. When the tie rods come, they're almost always adjusted like, in all the way or nearly all the way. So when you put them on, usually both wheels are kind of facing out like that, like massively toed out. And so again, yes, center the steering box and leave the steering box there, and then just adjust the left and right tie rods to try and get it kind of as close as you can. Again, just eyeballing it here to where the car would be going straight and not have, a lot of toe in or toe out. And then that's a good starting point. A lot of people don't necessarily center the steering box when they put them together. And then what can happen is you have, a normal amount of steering in one side, but on the other side, you sort of like run out of steering box before the wheels have gone as far as they're supposed to. And so you might have a car that turns fine in one direction, but in the other direction swings on like this massive arc. And it really makes parking cars like that kind of a pain in the ass, because you have to do, like a multi-point turn where normally if you just crank the wheel all the way, you could just sort of cut in. The barn door bus was like that, actually. So we had to go back and recenter that steering on that at some point from whoever put the bus together before. They didn't have the steering centered well. And so it was kind of like that, where it turned fine in one direction, but kind of pathetic in the other direction. Anyway, so yeah, that's how you center all that stuff. And then again, just like a preliminary alignment. So yeah, I went ahead and did that. And then from there, I installed the massive brake master cylinder, which I think is like a 25 millimeter pistons in there. It's pretty big. So that's what I get from Jason at Air Cooled Vintage Works. That's pretty much what we use on any car with, like bigger aftermarket brakes. These things, they're just massive and they give an incredible pedal feel, super solid, and they can apply plenty of pressure to pretty much any brakes you can throw at this beast of a master cylinder. So yeah, I went ahead and installed that, and then formed the two hard lines there, and then from there connected the braided hoses that go from basically from the chassis to the brakes, the Willwood calipers there. So yeah, front brakes are all installed now. Everything's actually tight. Need to figure out what I'm going to do with the reservoir as far as using the stock one and the metal tubes that run down to it, or just plug the one that comes with it in. The only thing is this master cylinder right now, the grommets on it that this plugs into are this larger size, which is much bigger, as you can see, than the stock ones. And so I need to figure out if I can get grommets for this particular master cylinder that are made for that size fitting, because that's what would fit with the stock hoses. That, again, there's a pair of them, they sort of run down here, or they're like metal lines, they run down here, and then there's on each one there's like a short section of brake hose, and then eventually they kind of make, well, here, you guys can see it on this car. So this setup here, yeah, like that. So yeah, I need to see if those fittings there are available for that master cylinder that can take that size, that's compatible with that size of a brake line. So if it is, then I'll put the master cylinder, or leave the master cylinder there in the stock location, which I really prefer, because then you can see how much brake fluid you've got, and if there's an issue, you'll know. Versus if the master cylinder is kind of hidden down there, you never really see it. And granted, we shouldn't have leaks in the brake system or anything, but I feel better being able to kind of glance at that every once in a while, say I'm putting gas in a car or whatever, versus if it's hidden under there under the gas tank. Like, when do you ever actually see that, right? So we'll try and use the stock location if we can, but again, it depends on whether I can get grommets for this that are compatible with that size line. Anyway, guys, so yeah, steering and brakes went on the front of this today, and then again went ahead and assembled the brake, or excuse me, the steering coupler setup there. So that's there, and other than that, I just got a couple pieces here ready. This is, of course, the stop for the pedals, and then also did a quick restoration on the brake master cylinder push rod there. The other part of this that actually connects to the pedal is being powder coated right now, along with the actual pedals. So once that comes in, then we'll put on that whole assembly there. And I still need to take, annoyingly, I need to take the rear e-brake cables and get custom ones made. Thank you very much, Impy. So that is what happened on this one today. On Big Blue over here, just minor stuff. I finally sprayed a nice coat of silver paint on the intake manifold end castings. They were pretty ugly. And then the other thing I did was, if you follow the channel, you remember that I had to space the center section of the manifold that way some, so that the fuel injection and everything would clear the big old fat alternator. And the way that I had that done was I basically stacked 4 washers in there to move the intake manifold center section that way. I was very unhappy with how that looked, and without a fuel pump in the stock location here, you see that right there, because again, the intake manifold is kind of like here, and so that shows, and it looked so hokey with 4 washers stacked up there that I really couldn't stand it. And so I made a little spacer here that's the same thickness of those 4 washers, but much more clean looking, because that was going to bug me if I had 4 washers stacked there and it showed. So now it's going to look more tidy. So yeah, that was about it on this one. And I think that is actually all I have to talk about for today. more body work going on with the 72 Ghia and more paint stripping on the other 68. This one's maybe more rusty than it was, brother. And finished up headliner on that Brazilian bus that we also did the pop top on. So I'll try and show you guys all that before that bus leaves. So guys, that's it for today. I will not actually be filming an episode this weekend because I'm heading to San Diego. However, tomorrow I will try and release the walk around video that I did of the One Family Sea Blue 64 Hot Rod Beetle. So stay tuned for that. I'll try and get that uploaded tomorrow or Sunday at the latest. So I'll have a little content for you guys this weekend. So anyway, in the meantime, thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.